Today on the Pensive Drew Says podcast, I'm going to be sharing some advice that I wish I had received before I started making YouTube videos and podcasts, and hopefully this will answer the question of, should you become a content creator? I'll probably discuss other stuff too, so if that sounds interesting, go ahead and stick around. Let's start with my advice for YouTubers and podcasters and answer the question surrounding should you become a content creator. This is a bit of a follow-up to the discussion that occurred on episode 410 about what do I think about content creation? What have I given up? Is it really worth it? And the reason I want to add some additional context and discussion around this is I got a DM saying, man, that episode left me feeling so discouraged, so disheartened. That was a huge bummer. That was not my intention with that discussion. I was just sharing the thought process that I was having after making YouTube videos for nearly 20 years now. My current channel's been going for 10 years, this podcast for about 10 years, and I wanted to share what goes through your head. What changes as you get older and you're still making this content? So that was the intention, but clearly the intention did not precipitate. The intention was not clear, and it left people, at least one person, feeling discouraged. And if one person sends a message saying, "What a bummer, you disheartened me," more than one person felt that. So that's why I want to share this. And these are questions or analysis that I wish I had done before I started making YouTube videos and really going in on it in 2015. The first question you need to address is why? Why do I want to start making content online? Is it because you want to make it a full-time job, quit your day job, and start making YouTube videos or podcasts 100% of your time? That's your sole source of income? Is it because you want to get famous and hang out with other famous people? Is it because it's a fun hobby for you? Is it because you just need an outlet, you need to vent, and you don't have anybody around you to vent to? Or is it because you want to share knowledge and just help people make the world a slightly better place? Understanding the true, and I say true intentionally, the true reason why you're doing this is going to help you determine how you should prioritize it in your life. And this is something I didn't really do. I never considered the prioritization of different aspects of my life. I went to my day job, then afterwards I would just do YouTube, do podcasting. But if you're starting an underwater basket weaving YouTube channel with the intention of making that your career, I imagine you're going to be willing to work a bit harder, put in more hours on the YouTube channel to try to make it profitable, to try to grow the income and make it your full-time job. But on the other hand, if you're just doing it because it's a fun hobby, you're just going to do what you find fun, and if something important comes up in your life that you prioritize slightly higher, you're going to let the YouTube channel go by the wayside, let a video miss, you're not going to release on time, and you're going to focus on that. That's not a failure. That's just you prioritizing what's most important to you at that moment. I want to point out this will change over time. When you're younger, I bet you're going to be willing to work a lot harder on YouTube, on content creation, because you just have that drive. As you get older, maybe I'm just talking from my perspective, but as you get older, that drive to just work 80 hours a week diminishes a little bit, and you just don't want to do that. You want to focus on other stuff. But regardless of the priorities, as long as this is not your full-time job, as long as this isn't your sole source of income, I believe that most of the time, it should remain a fun way to spend your time. You should enjoy making that content, whether it be YouTube videos, podcasts, Instagram posts, whatever. You should enjoy that process most of the time. There will always be days where you don't want to, but most of the time, in most cases, it should be enjoyable. That's the first thing. Why do you want to do it? Number 2, understand what you're willing to sacrifice to actually make that content. This is going to allow you to determine how much time you can sacrifice, how much time you can work on that content while maintaining a lifestyle that you find fulfilling. So are you going to be willing to give up 1 hour of sleep every single night to make videos, and you're still happy with the rest of your life? Are you going to give up going to the bar with your friends every Thursday and Friday so you get 4, 5, 20 hours? Maybe you gain 48 hours because you didn't get in that bar brawl and now you're not locked up in county. Whatever it may be, maybe that's something you're willing to give up. Are you willing to give up gaming to work on videos? Are you going to be okay foregoing dating to make online content? After you've answered that, now you have a general idea of how many hours each week you have to play with in terms of creating content. So that's pretty important because that's going to allow you to make the videos, make the podcast that you want to, while not eating away at the rest of your life, not making you miserable because you are forgoing other important aspects of your life. So we're just trying to schedule at this point. It's a pretty important aspect I ignored for a very long time. The third question is, how long does it take you to actually make the content, to make the videos or the podcasts? This is going to help us determine a release schedule. Does it take you 4 hours to make a video and you've allocated 8 hours a week? Then you can produce 2 videos every single week. Maybe that means you want to put out 2 videos a week, or maybe you just want to put out 1 video a week, but then build up this buffer, this back catalog of videos that are scheduled to go live so that if you get sick, if something comes up, you can still have videos coming out on schedule regularly, but you can take the time off that's necessary. Maybe a video takes you 20 hours to do the outlining, the filming, the editing, the thumbnail, the scheduling, and all the SEO, but you only have 10 hours a week. Then you would only be able to put out a video every single 2 weeks. And you're going to be on crunch time because you have 20 hours, it takes you 20 hours to make it. You're going to be coming in right on the wire. I know because that is me. I come in right at the finish line, right as the buzzer goes off. Sketch will go live a few hours later. So this is going to determine what an acceptable release schedule is for you without infringing on your day-to-day life. And this is something I need to add a caveat here. You will become more effective or efficient at producing content as you do it more and more. And while that happens, you will be getting more of your time back. Maybe it starts at 20 hours to produce a video, but after a year, now it takes you 15 hours. With that additional 5 hours every couple of weeks, you could start producing the next video, or you could add additional tasks. Start making shorts, work on better thumbnails, reply to more comments, build some kind of community, work on monetization through other methods, whatever it may be. So this is something that shifts as well. There are a lot of variables in all of these questions, and things will change as you do it longer and longer. The next thing we need to address is success. How are you going to measure success? How do you know that you are being successful as a content creator? Is it going to be you got 1,000 views, maybe you got 100 comments? Is it earning $50 or $5,000? Is it having fun or just getting a sense of accomplishment? Is it improving a skill set that will benefit you later in life? Do you just like learning? Is it growing your business? Is it helping people? Is it feeling less alone and finding your group of weirdos, your community? Is it filling time with something productive? There are so many ways to quantify or measure success, and it's going to be different from person to person. And you, as the individual giving up your free time to do this, need to understand that and need to quantify that and need to determine for yourself whether or not you are being successful. Do not let somebody in the comments tell you you are or are not. Do not let some superficial thing that you don't really care about become a measure of success unless you find that to be a good measure of success. It's all about finding yourself to be successful in what you're doing. This is going to allow you to determine for yourself whether or not you're spending your time well. For example, if you're giving up 4 hours a week to make a podcast about politics, and the way that you measure success is helping educate people, how many people do you think you need to educate for it to be a success? Is it one person having a better understanding of politics? Is it 5 people? Is it 100 people? Is it 50,000 people? How many people do you need to educate to actually feel successful? On the other hand, another example would be, are you making gaming videos and the way you determine success is, did I have fun? Well, did ya? If you did, good job, you're successful. If you didn't, why not? What wasn't fun about the content creation? What can you do to make it more fun next time? Then next time, maybe you will be more successful at having a fun experience making that video or that podcast about gaming. With this topic, there is no absolute answer from person to person. Everybody's different. Everybody has different goals. Everybody measures success differently. And this too is going to shift over time as you move through your content creator journey, your journey through content creation. The way you measure success is going to differ. It's going to grow, it's going to shift from one area to another. Maybe it starts as views, then it goes to comments, then it goes to, this is fun. So it's going to shift. You will need to reassess as your life changes. The next topic is, who are you making content for? You need to remember that. Who is this content being made for? And this is going to dictate how critical you need to be of the content that you're making, how much you should worry about performance or engagement, and how often you should adjust what you're doing to fulfill your audience expectations. Are you making content solely because you think that it's going to be fun? Then you are making content for yourself. If you have fun, who cares what anybody thinks of the content? Have fun while making it. Publish it, and go on about your day. Your job is done. You have determined that the audience is happy because you are the audience you are trying to appease. Are you making content, videos, or podcasts to grow your business? Then you're making content that needs to get new eyes in front of it. So you may need to adjust your editing style, how you outline episodes, what kind of thumbnails you use to maximize click-through, viewer retention, as well as maybe engagement farming. Hey, make sure to smash like and subscribe and share it around, whatever you do. You're going to have different ways that you need to adjust the content to meet your desired goal, your desired audience. Growing your business requires new eyeballs, so you're going to need to prioritize certain things with your content. Another example would be, are you making educational content? In that situation, you are making content for individuals who are looking for answers to very specific questions. The way you could very easily fulfill your audience expectations is look at the feedback that you get. Look at the comments, the tweets, the emails. Do you get the same question over and over and over again? Your job is done. Include that question going forward. Answer that question. Address that issue. Hey, how does this reject keyboard noise? I don't know. Let me test it in every single one of my reviews. Hey, how does this sound 4 feet away? I don't know. That seems silly, but I will move 4 feet away from the microphone and test it every single time. The reason I have all the tests that I do in my microphone reviews is user feedback, viewer feedback saying, hey, Here's a situation that I want to know how this microphone performs. And I got enough requests for each of those tests that I started including them. So those are a few examples of how you can adjust the content to fulfill your audience's expectations. And that's going to differ depending on why you're making content. Next, you need to ask yourself, this is a really important one. Are you happy? Not with life in general, but are you happy doing this? Are you happy making the content? Are you happy with the decisions you are making with your content, with the videos, the podcasts, with the monetization, with everything surrounding publishing something? I don't think you should quit if you have a bad week or month, because there will be fluctuations. And if you do this long enough, if you make content online long enough, you will make the decision. I don't want to say you will have to, but you may make the decision to show up even when you don't want to. You may have had a long day at work and you want to sit on your butt and do nothing other than watch Terminator, which you've been trying to do for 3 weeks at this point, and you still haven't been able to do it. But you make that decision. You don't have to, because there's always that choice. But you make the decision to show up because you find fulfillment in making those videos. But if you find content creation to have become this constant source of negativity, it's super draining on you and it just makes you miserable, maybe you need to reassess how you're thinking about content creation, shift from, this is going to be my full-time job, to, this is just a fun hobby for me. Maybe you need to reassess or adjust how you're producing the content. Are you spending 40 hours on a video and it is just weighing on you? Maybe lower the production quality and make the videos a bit more fun for you, a bit more off the cuff, a bit more spontaneous, or reduce the release schedule. Maybe you just need to take a break from it. Something that I have found tremendously helpful is deleting the YouTube Studio app off of my phone so I don't have constant access to it, because that app can be the bane of of YouTubers' existence. This video is 10 out of 10 worst performing. That'll eat you alive. So adjust how you interact with content creation. Take a break from it. Take a month off. Don't look at the analytics. Just log in, upload, schedule, move on. Don't read your comments for a little bit. But if you're not able to overcome that, if you're not able to adjust your mindset, your production schedule, your interaction or relationship with content creation, and it really is just a net negative, I'm very hesitant to say this because I wouldn't want to discourage anybody from doing it. But if it really is making you miserable, think, is there a better way to spend my time that makes me happier? I'll put it that way. And the final question, or final piece of advice rather, is constantly reassess. Your life is going to change. Your priorities are going to change. You are going to grow as a person. Your expectations out of content creation will change. So you need to reassess what you're doing, how you're doing it, and determine if it is still the right path for you. This may or may not be something I wish I would have done a lot earlier. All of this advice is stuff I wish I would have taken into account a lot earlier. I don't regret anything that I have done in terms of content creation, how much work I put into it, because I am incredibly proud of what I have accomplished. But do I wish I sacrificed all of my free time for the last 10 years? I don't know, maybe not. So to reiterate, what are the points here? What can you take away? Why do you want to make content? What are you giving up to produce that content? That is incredibly important to remember and assess. What are you giving up? How often can you release something? How will you know if you are succeeding or not? How are you going to measure your success? Why will you improve what you're doing? Are you happy with those decisions? and then just start all over again. Do all of that again. Keep asking yourself that. That's my advice for YouTubers, content creators, podcasters. These are questions that I just don't see asked that often. Most of the time, I just see discussions around, how do I get more views? How do I earn more money? What's the highest CPM niche on YouTube? How do I get more subscribers to my podcast? Not, hey, do I really want to be a content creator? What have I sacrificed to do it? Again, I do not want to discourage you from being a content creator. If you find it fulfilling, if you have fun doing it, do it. Just make sure you aren't sacrificing too much in your life to work on it. Make sure you maintain that healthy work-life balance, especially if you work a day job, you do YouTube, you have a significant other, you have family, you have friends that you also need to juggle as well. Make sure you account for that and determine what a healthy release schedule and production schedule is so that the content creation does not infringe on that part of your life and ultimately make you a bummer, make you bummed out, make you sad, make you miserable. It's all about finding a way to manage all of life because there's so much going on, dude. There's so much we got to do. So there you go. That's my advice. I hope that was helpful. I hope you can determine what's right for you and let me know. Let me know what works best for you, how you manage everything, because that's something every single non-full-time content creator struggles with. All of us hobbyist YouTubers and podcasters, we're doing the full-time job. We're trying to have that social life and we're trying to make good videos and podcasts. So let me know in the comments down below. Let us jump to what I've been testing. I am on the Fifine AM8, an XLR and USB dynamic microphone. This thing normally costs only $55 dues. $55. I bought it on sale for $46. I am even recording over a USB as opposed to XLR. I am going to process it like I do all the time, but this is limited to 16-bit. I'm recording 16-bit, 48 kilohertz. There's no DSP processing or anything. For the price, I think this thing is crazy. It does have some limitations. As I mentioned, 16-bit, 48 kilohertz. There's no great way to mix between zero latency and computer playback. The mounting system is kind of trash and very wobbly if you have an XLR connected or headphones connected. Hence why I am not monitoring, because I'll just yank the microphone down. It has a lot of flaws. But the raw sound out of this thing for $45 or $55 at full price, dude. What? That's crazy. Pretty solid for the price. It's in good company amongst the Samson Go mic, Q2U, Razer Siren Mini if you want the brighter sound, XM8500. There's some good stuff out there. That's what I've been testing. Now let's jump to what you had to say, and the first comment comes from MechTechRW, and they say, you can rent microphones. I know that sounds insane, but it is possible. You can rent, make the video, increase your ROI substantially. However, there really is nothing like that new microphone smell. MechTechRW, thank you very much for the comment, and thank you for the suggestion. The reason I don't rent microphones is the exact same reason. If a microphone is still being made, I do not review a used version. I don't know the history of that microphone. I don't know if it is in full working order. I don't know if it has been abused. And I am much more likely to get a fully working microphone if I buy it new. I also have a bit of coverage there. Most retailers, if you get a lemon, will happily replace it for you. Most companies, if you buy it, have a long enough warranty that If I wait a couple of years to actually get around to reviewing it and realize it's busted, I can still get that replaced as well. So that's why I still go the new route, because my job is to ensure I am giving the most accurate representation of that microphone, of that piece of gear. And if I were to test out, demo, review used microphones and rented microphones, there's, in my opinion, a higher probability of getting a mic that is slightly altered, that may have been repaired, that has something wrong with it that impacts the performance. So that's why I still go the new route, even though I would love to just borrow every single microphone that I could from other people, never spend a dime on anything, and just profit. Yes, dude, just all the money is mine. Nobody gets anything. That'd be so tight. But my job is to make sure I'm giving an accurate representation of the mic. I have found the best way to do that is to just buy a new one. Now, in certain instances where it is out of production, I will have to use a used microphone. And that's kind of a necessary evil, because if it's out of production, they don't make it anymore. Unless I get really lucky and find a new old stock version of that mic, which is extremely rare, especially when I want to review a made in the USA SM7 and pay way too much, or an SM5B, which I got a surprisingly good deal on, seeing how much they go for now. But you get the point. Out of production mics, they have to be used. If a microphone is still in production, I'm going to go new. Thank you very much. Next comment comes from Michael Vosbane, 7524, and he says, I have a podcast now in its 8th year, and I constantly wrestle with these questions. I usually interview world-class drummers. I want the quality to be as good as I can make it, but my guests usually just use their laptop cams and mics and no lights. I use a Logitech Brio, newer lights, and a Heil PR40 into a Rodecaster Pro, generally recording in Zoom because that's what my guests know how to use. To up my game any further would serve to emphasize the poor quality of my guest feeds, so I'm standing pat for now. The show will never offset expenses, so how good does it need to be anyway? Michael, thank you very much for the comment, and thank you for sharing your situation with your podcast. I think this is a situation that a lot of people are in. They don't have a significant amount of income, so they're not able to justify huge expenditures on their part for that content creation. Something I would suggest if you did have income from the podcast, very expensive, very time intensive, but I know a number of podcasters have a couple of Samson Q2Us or MV7s, and they will ship those microphones out to their guests, help them set them up, get them set up properly with the gain, with the recording, with all of that. And then once that person's done with the podcast, it gets shipped back to them. So they have guest microphones that they will ship out to people who are on their show. And that serves both people, the podcaster and the guest, because it makes the guest seem much more trustworthy, much more reliable. It makes them look better because they sound great. As far as the cameras, you could easily get by having them use their built-in webcams. There's no problem there. I've discussed this a lot. Audio is much more important than video, especially for a podcast, because that's how all the information is being conveyed. The video is just secondary. The video could go away. The video just went away. Okay, the video's back. This is also on YouTube. I can't make the video go away. You get the point, though. All the actual information is being conveyed via voice. So by helping them sound better, you're making them look better. You, as the podcaster, the one producing it, ends up with happier listeners. They're more likely to recommend it because they had a good listening experience. So it's a win-win. The huge downside there is the capital investment. You're spending $70 if you're going Q2U. You could go down to $30 and get a Samsung Go mic even. $20 and get a Samsung Go mic and just send them a desktop tripod. It would be a huge improvement over a built-in laptop mic. So that is a way around it. But yeah, for most of us hobbyists, we don't have the income to justify spending hundreds of dollars on extra mics to ship out to guests. Because you have to give them a return label too. They're kind enough to be on your show. Are you really going to make them pay for shipping too? What? So you're in a situation that every single hobbyist is in. How good can it be with the income, with the budget that I have? And you have met that, it sounds like. You understand where that sits. They don't have the gear that's necessary, or they're unwilling to set it up. You don't want to invest more because you don't want to make them sound or look even worse. So you're there until you go the route of, I'm going to send you a microphone. That adds so much time to production, though. You got to help them set it up. You got to include shipping time and the preparation for it. Adds a lot to it. Thank you very much. Next, we have a comment from Sheriff Vlogs, and they say, "Hey, Bandrew, would you be joining the Spotify Partner Program for Spotify for Creators? It seems like Spotify wants to take on YouTube." Sheriff, thank you very much for the comment, and thank you very much for the question. The answer is simple. No, I will not be joining the Spotify Partner Program, which, by the way, you earn 50% of the share of revenue recognized every time an ad monetized by Spotify plays in your episodes, both on and off Spotify. So to me, that sounds like it's going to be dynamically inserting ads into your podcast episodes, and whether that is listened to on Spotify or whether it's downloaded on some third-party podcatcher, it's going to count as an ad view. The reason I will not do this is twofold. Number one, this is a value for value podcast, which means no ads. I don't want ads. You don't want ads. So no, I will not put them there. Secondly, I don't host my show on Spotify, so I don't know how that would work with dynamic inserted ads because I host on a third-party platform that gets ingested into Spotify, but then there would need to be a Spotify RSS that I distribute to other podcatchers for that dynamically inserted ad to be played, right? And I don't use Spotify to host my podcast, or Anchor, if it's still called that. I don't use that, so there's no way I could do this. So the answer is no. Thank you very much for the question, but hey, if you are interested, Spotify has a partner program, and I think you are correct. They are trying to go after YouTube. Will they succeed? Probably not. I doubt it. Maybe for video podcasts, they can compete with YouTube, but as far as YouTube as a whole, I don't see that happening. YouTube just has the user base, they have the back catalog, they have the search engine. There's so much going for YouTube outside of video podcasts that I don't think Spotify could compete with. Thank you very much, Sheriff. Next, we have a comment from The Road to Health, and they say, "Bandrew, as you get more impressions, your click-through rate always goes down. It makes sense because you are getting more impressions, but only a percentage of people will click. YouTube has said that early higher click-through rate matters more, so the video will continue to get more impressions, and that has been my experience. If the thumb is good, you'll see repeat moments when your click-through rate will be high again, as YouTube finds a new group, and then it will fall again as more people click. Classic example, Mark Rober has a low click-through rate, but millions of views." Road to Health, thank you very much for the comment. This is something that I am aware of. This is something that makes perfect sense. I have experienced this. It's something that is easily forgotten, though. I was lucky enough back in 2017 to be a YouTube creator on the rise. Podcastage was featured on the front of YouTube back when I had 50,000 subscribers or so. It took me 6 months, maybe a year, to recover from that because there was a huge influx of subscribers, of new viewers, but they were not people who cared about microphones, about audio interfaces. They just subscribed. There were a lot of bots who just subscribed thinking, I need to seem like a legitimate account. I must subscribe. And that means there's a bunch of dummy accounts that will not get recommended anything, or if they do try to mimic real user behavior, they'll log on, scroll, click. They're going to get recommended my video and not click on it. So by getting this exposure to a wider YouTube viewer base, it really harmed my channel because it was telling YouTube this channel's subscribers hate their videos. So let's not recommend them as much. It was really detrimental. It was amazing the day of. It was, oh my gosh, this is so cool. How tight is this? Front page of YouTube. How rad. But then the aftermath kicked in and you realize it's a curse and a blessing. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Let's go with that saying. Why my brain just went dead. I don't know what I'm trying to say. That metaphor. That's the fact that I couldn't think of metaphor is embarrassing. My channel deserved to be eaten alive by a wolf. I can't think of metaphor. What a dope. Thank you very much, Road to Health. Appreciate you. Next, we have a comment from Loud and Clear Media, and he says, don't mean to rooster block you, bud, but I'd bet my bottom dollar that your analytics say it's a sausage fest around here. But hey, on the bright side, no woman will ever know how much you actually spend on mics. There's that. Loud and Clear Media, thank you very much for the comment, and thank you for bringing me back down to reality. This was in my response to my friend telling me, hey, you need to put that feeler out on Twitter and say, hey, where are all the women who want to watch messed up horror movies and just be lame together? Hit me up. And I did that in the podcast last episode, and he just pointed out, hey, it's a sausage fest. I initially wanted to push back thinking, no, I know there were a few women who used to, it's not fair. This isn't a complete, and then I looked at analytics. Accurate. It's 100% dude over here. It's 100% dude. So I guess I do have that benefit that no woman will ever know how much I've spent on microphones. Thank God. And I just put out a call to action to a bunch of dudes. Whatever. Okay, let's move on. Next, we are jumping to the value for value section because this is a V for V podcast. What that means, as I already mentioned, there are no ads. We do not put this behind a paywall. I just try to put as much information in it as I can. I put it out there. If you get any value, I ask you return that in whatever way you are able, whether it is time, talent, or treasure. You can contribute via podcastage.com/support. Podcastage.com/support. You can send something in via YouTube Super Thanks, or if you aren't able or are unwilling to contribute financially, you can just share one of these episodes with somebody who may enjoy it. That's always super helpful because it's a 40-minute show covering a bunch of topics. It does terrible in the algorithm, so just share it around if you want to. First, we have 10 GBP from Italiano con Raf, and he says, thanks, Bandrew. Your podcast on Monday morning in the UK is always a great way to start the week. Raf, thank you very much for the £10, and thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate it. But also, thank you for including me in your weekly podcast listening, download schedule, whatever you want to call it. I know there are 4 million podcasts out there, so there are a lot of us people in our spare bedrooms vying for your attention. I appreciate you giving this show a listen and giving it a chance and supporting it financially. Really do appreciate you. Next, we have $10 from DJ Midnight Wolf. He says, "Thank you, Bandrew, for everything you do. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. This goes back to a joke comment I made, but has real merit. I said RE20 is better than the SM7B. For my voice. That week, a friend was asking me why his voice sounds off when using a Shure microphone when EQ is flat, but sounds great on his SEV7. I told him that the voice in your head will not sound the same when recorded unless you are used to listening to it recorded. Also, different mics will treat your voice differently because of the pattern they pick up and the frequency response. Because of this, some mics sound like gold on certain people, but terrible on others. For me, the RE20 is a better microphone for my vocal pattern. For Bandrew, the SM7B does sound better than the RE20. We don't have the same voice, so it won't be the same experience with the same microphones." Midnight, thank you very much for the 10 USD. I hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving as well, that you got a bunch of turkey, mashed potatoes, some pumpkin pie and whipped cream and cranberry sauce and rolls and green beans and pecan pie. That's a When Harry Met Sally reference. Thank you very much. I hope everybody else had an amazing Thanksgiving as well. And thank you for sharing your thoughts on this. I think you're exactly right. Everybody has a different voice. Therefore, every single microphone is going to react differently to those voices depending on what frequencies are naturally accentuated in our voices. My voice is higher pitched. It is quite obnoxious. It is harsh. So a microphone that softens that up a little bit, like the SM7B, like the U87, I find to be flattering. Microphones that are brighter, that focus on those higher frequencies, like the LCT240, like I can't think of any others right now. I just think of Lewitt when I think of bright microphones. The Peluso P414 for spoken word, really not the most flattering because it exaggerates frequencies that I find to be very unappealing. So finding a microphone that works with your voice is going to be difficult. It's going to be a process of elimination. You're going to try, you're going to like, you're going to try, you're going to dislike. You're going to have to find what one works best for you. And just because a microphone is more expensive doesn't mean it's going to be the best fit. There are people who have the U87 who think, I sound like trash on this. I hate how I sound. I prefer how I sound on the $400 Ethos from Earthworks. So the price alone, just because it's more expensive, does not mean it's immediately going to be a better fit. Just like your friend who had an SM7B, and he didn't like how he sounded, but he preferred how he sounded on a $100 SEV7. There's nothing wrong with that. If you find a microphone that works with your voice, like you have with the RE20, go with it. There's no pride in, oh, Team SM7B, Team RE20, Team U8. Who gives a heck? Who cares what microphone you actually use? Sure, it's fun. Hey, you like the SM7B? I like the SM7B too. You like the RE20? Me too. That's cool, that's fun and all, but at the end of the day, none of us really care. We just want you to have the gear that works best for you, that helps you accomplish your tasks as quickly and efficiently and effectively as possible. That could be a $100 mic. It could be a $10,000 mic. Nobody cares. They care about the end product and how the recording sounds. That's the truth of it. So you are exactly right. Next, we have 10, I'm going to give this a shot, 10 Polish Zlotny from Oscar. I think I butchered that, but he says, microphone humor is where it's at. Love you too, Bandrew. Ooh woo. I never... I almost did it. I don't ever want to do that again. P.S. Can't wait for the Shure MV Sex review. That went way too far. I'm sorry. P.P.S. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your time off. You earned every second of it and more. Oscar, thank you very much for the 10 Polish zlotni. Thank you very much for being one of the 6 people in this world who appreciate microphone humor. Curse you for making me read uwu. And and thank you very much for the happy Thanksgiving. I really do appreciate it. And I know Thanksgiving is not a Polish holiday, but if you are in the States, I hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving. If you didn't, I just hope you had a great weekend. I hope you had some nice time off. You got to record something that you had fun with. And thank you again very much for the kind words and for the financial support. Really do appreciate you. And lastly, we have €25 from the man, the myth, the legend, TechMed, Rainer Richter. And he says, Danke. Raina, thank you so much for the €25. I really do appreciate the continued support of this show. Thank you to every single one of you who have contributed this week. It is thanks to you that this show remains value for value, remains ad-free, remains unpaywalled. You keep the bills paid, the lights on. For some people, that is a negative. Shut off the lights, Bandrew. Shut them off. We don't want to look at your ugly mug. But to them, I say, no, you're going to deal with this ugly mug, bro. You're going to deal with this. So there we go. Thank you very much to every single one of you. Raina, Oscar, Midnight Wolf from the Discord server, and Raf. Thank you all very much for the support. Appreciate you. And I know everybody else who watches and listens to this, who enjoys it ad-free, appreciates you as well. As far as Ask Bandrew, I do not have any. As far as weekly recommendation algorithms, I do not have any. I am still trying to watch Terminator. How long have I been trying to watch that? 3 weeks at this point? Last night, I was able to watch 1 hour of it. I have 45 minutes left. And if I finish early enough today, I'm going to finish watching it. And then I'm going to finish my review video for next week because I missed this entire week again. So thank you very much for coming by. It's going to wrap up this week. And yes, next week is going to be the Fifine AM8 $55 XLR USB dynamic microphone. And that wraps it up. Thank you for coming by. I really do appreciate you. I know there are about 1 billion trillion things vying for your attention, like all these drone UFO sightings that are going on right now. What in the heck is happening? Is it just Twitter pushing this stuff to me? Is this always what's going on UFO Twitter? Or is this a new thing? Is this something that is actually concerning? Are we being invaded, or is it just this massive... 4chan prank on the world? Let's all get our drones together and make it look like UFOs are invading. What is it? What do they want? What's he building in there? What is he building in there? It's a Tom Waits reference for you. All right. I don't know where we went. I hope you have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will be back. I will be talking at you, with you, about you. I love you. I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Whoa, whoa. Boop.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.
Oh, that's why I have the straw. Had that been an open top, would have had water everywhere. Would have ruined my 7-year-old poster board that I use for all my backdrops. That would have been tragic. I don't know what I'm going to do when that piece of paper dies. This has been with me for so long. It's just beat to crap. The other side's gold, by the way, which I hated. I tried it once, hated how it looked, went back to silver. I don't know what I'll do. I tried to go buy some more. They don't have it available. What am I talking about?